control it.
And interestingly, Mr. Prasad, what this reports and this project talks about is, and this project seems to be revising the strategy that was adopted by the Bush administration and the administrations that followed Bush administration. The alternatives to war were not considered by even the Bush administration or even by the Obama administration for that matter. And this goes on still. How do you see this?
Very devastating and very dangerous. It has been last 1.5 decades that the humankind has seen bloodshed, and especially the Muslim blood has been so cheap and so easy to bleed all around, you know. Whether you talk of Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq,
Iran,
for example, Iraq, I'm talking of Iraq, you know, that on the false prejudice or propaganda of weapons of mass destruction, and then later on Colin Powell said, oh, I'm sorry, you know, it was a false reports by their intelligence, but the entire country has been devastated, you know. Over 1 million people died, so many million others, you know, they got affected. Then the tyranny unleashed in Abu Ghraib prison and other ways, you know, that is a dark chapter and will remain dark chapter in the human history. When you say there were other options, you know, these events that unfollowed after the first victory of George Bush, and when the votes in Florida, the black votes around 28,000, you know, the dispute came and ultimately the US Supreme Court decided, people thought that this will give some way to any crisis, and for 9/11 in that summer, if I correctly remember, George Bush had no clue what to do, what not to do. But suddenly, you know, this 9/11 gave an opportunity to destroy Afghanistan. None of a single Taliban was among the attackers of 9/11. And then, you know, in Iraq there was a heated debate. Look at the British Prime Minister at that time. Now he is facing an inquiry. I remember in UN General Assembly session, Security Council session, the then British Foreign Secretary Jacques Straw and French Foreign Minister Villepin, they had a heated debate. And Jacques Straw was just taunting Villepin. But today the events have given this truth to the world that the then French Foreign Minister Villepin was right and the other side was wrong. Whenever this report or other reports, if they are objective, if they are written on the basis of facts and research, the numbers given in this report suggest that around 500,000 Americans they are dead, you know, they lost their lives. The American government never gave such figures. In the same report, the number of Syrian, you know, deaths, that's around 500,000, 500,000. But Syria as a country, if you look at the visuals coming out from Syria, the country has seen bloodshed, which I believe First World War and Second World War never, you know, saw this bloodshed. Around 10 million people, they left Syria. Where they are, nobody knows. Whether they died, how many people died while crossing Atlantic and Mediterranean, nobody knows, you know. In Afghanistan, marriage ceremony bombarded, you know. The convoys bombarded. The civilian bombarded. School buses bombarded. And then obviously the retaliation from the insurgent forces within Afghanistan, they destroyed everything, whatever has been, you know. So it's a story of death and destruction. I don't know when the true figure will come up. The figures given in this report, I believe, even shorter than the actual human deaths and destructions.
Maybe, certainly.